Hey y'all, welcome back to the DIY Entrepreneurs channel. I'm so glad you decided to tune in with me today. Go ahead and hit that like button and become a subscriber to the channel if you're not already a subscriber. I would really appreciate that. Today I want to bring to you a new segment that I want to add to the channel, and it's going to be our business news roundup. And so what I want to do is every week bring to you a couple of articles that I've read that I think that will be useful to share and useful for you to know about in the business news area. There's going to be three categories that I bring those articles in. The first one will be for new and aspiring entrepreneurs. The second type of article that I'll be sharing is for us current business owners. And last but not least, I want to have a feature story. In that feature story, we will be somehow linked back to one of the Shark Tank pitches that we've heard for that week. And I'll just bring an update or some type of information, new information to you about some news that they may have been in. And so I really do hope that these three areas will be of interest to you, and it will be something that you will stay tuned in for. And make sure you leave some feedback. Let me know what you think about the article. Let me know what you think about the business, or if you have another article that may be of interest that you would like for me to elaborate on. Make sure you share that in the comments. I'll be happy to do so. Okay, so let's check out our first story. And so for our first story, for our aspiring and new entrepreneurs, I thought that this article will be of usage for you guys. And so I want to just make sure you're clear on the fact that there is no one way to do this entrepreneurship journey. You just started, you get an idea, and you go for it. And when I read through this article, it went over 5 types of entrepreneurship. Which one should you pursue? A link will be below if you want to read a little bit more about the different areas that they spoke about. But first of all, they spoke about what was entrepreneurship. The definition that they gave that I like is, at the heart of entrepreneurship is the concept of innovation. That by developing something totally new that solves a problem, a business can change the way people live for the better. That's the definition that they gave in here, but I like to make sure we understand that there has to be some type of financial loss or gain from this idea that we're hoping to bring and make people better in. But here are the types. So the first type of entrepreneurship that they mentioned was social entrepreneurship. And this is a socially conscious business that is focused on solving social problems. And so a lot of times those businesses may be a non-for-profit organization, or you're doing some type of foundation where you're helping and you're giving monies to help a bigger cause. The second type of entrepreneurship was innovation entrepreneurship. And they said it was rooted in new inventions and ideas, which are then transformed into ventures where you have to raise money. And some of the brands that they said will be good for the innovation was products such as the iPhone, of course. It says that this kind of entrepreneurship is ambitious and often requires significant investment in order to get off the ground. So that was the second type of entrepreneurship. And the third type of entrepreneurship was big business entrepreneurship. It said one major disadvantage for a business when it gets larger is that it starts to move slowly. And one of the companies that they mentioned in this area, the big business entrepreneurship, it says massive tech firms such as Google and Microsoft often do this by buying out small developers with promising technology as part of a long-term focus. So that's that big business entrepreneurship. And then a fourth type of entrepreneurship is small business entrepreneurship. It says in small business entrepreneurship, innovation is typically more modest and based on a new twist or currently available products or services. It also said that these small businesses are often made up of family members and friends, local restaurants, dry cleaners, and mom and pop stores in the neighborhood. And the fifth type of entrepreneurship is based on a concept by Steve Blank, who is the father of the lean startup concept. He said scalable startup business entrepreneurship begins with the founder's belief that they can change the world. Venture capitalists often swoop into these sorts of startups in hopes of landing a massive return. Then they hire highly skilled and educated professionals to run them. seeking to address market holes to disrupt entire industries. So the type of brands that come to mind when I think about these is what we've heard about WeWork, also what we've heard about Theranos. I know you've heard about that, and also Uber. You know, Uber was one of those scalable business type concepts that venture capitalists really put a lot of money behind in order to bring that concept to life. And it was pretty successful, as we know. And so in the end, to wrap it up, I think it's just best to make sure you have a plan and you have a concept of what you want to do with your idea as you start your entrepreneurship journey. And make sure you check us out if we can assist you in anything, all right? And so if you're one of our new or aspiring entrepreneurs, make sure you leave a comment below and let me know what type of entrepreneur you are based on these 5 areas. And so this next article for our current business owners, I thought would be very useful for sharing when I was doing my own research after my first year with the podcast. I was thinking about rebranding and bringing just a new look to the podcast. And I listened to this short video that I thought would be useful for us current business owners. And in this short video, Golden Shan of Forbes shared 6 effective strategies to work into your brand building goals. The first strategy she shared was to choose the right platform. And I think that spoke the most volumes to me, because right now I'm just on YouTube and my website with the podcast. And so I know I need to venture into TikTok and Instagram Reels and things like that. So that may be coming forth. But she just shared some key things in making sure you're on the right platform for your target market in your business. She also shared, and I won't go into detail, but she also shared leveraging your current contacts for resources, for other resources you may have or they may have. She talked about refreshing your brand image, and that was the real motivation behind me just bringing a new look and background to the podcast, and things like that. She also shared about finding unlikely partnerships, and so I have that down as a to do for myself, and just keeping the ear out for things that I know people may be doing and seeing how we could collaborate on some things with that. She also said that you should offer benefits to your team outside of pay. So kind of some dinners, go out and entertain your team if you have employees and things on a team. And so she wanted to make sure, she said that make sure you go out and celebrate them outside of just their salary. And last but not least, she said one of the best ways to do this is to share your wisdom, and just to be able to put yourself in a position where you're providing some type of thought leadership to a community of people. And that's my hope with this podcast, that as I learn, I will share those things with you guys as I continue on my entrepreneurship journey, and you guys will feel open and free enough to share with me as well as we communicate in the comments and things like that. So I do hope, again, this was a very short video, and so I hope that you guys do click that link and go ahead and check it out and just have it playing in the background. It's less than 3 minutes, so go ahead and check this video out. And now for our feature story that's related to a Shark Tank pitch that we posted on the channel this week. It's going to be for our Cycloramic. So if you remember that pitch, it was with the phone back in season 5. Mr. Bruno, the entrepreneur name was Bruno. He came into the tank asking for $90,000 in exchange for 5% for his app that allowed you to do a panoramic type of viewing, and the phone was moving on its own. All right, so if you did not catch that reaction, make sure you go ahead and click the link. I'm not sure which way it is, but make sure you click that link and go ahead and check that pitch out. But here's the update on Cycloramic. Now, if you remember, again, Bruno got a deal with Mark and Lori for $500,000 in exchange for 15% of the business. So that was the deal that he ended up walking out of the tank with. Here's the update. And so some way or another, the business name got changed. All right. It was no longer Cycloramic. It was now Car360. And I wonder what brought about that change. But the air date that they were on Shark Tank was January 31st, 2014. All right. And so as we can see here on this press release, Carvana acquires Car360. Carvana is the auto dealership that's been in the news a lot lately, but they're the car vending machines. It says an early iteration of Car360 launched in 2012 as a 360-degree panoramic video app called Cycloramic. In 2013, the wildly successful app caught the attention of Mark Cuban on Shark Tank, leading to an initial investment that eventually increased as part of a $3.55 million Series A financing round for Car360 in 2017. Now, y'all notice Lori's name was nowhere in there, right? And so what I believe happened is that some way or another, Mark got Lori out of the deal and they had to change the business name, or so to speak. But they had to do something with the business name, because in all of the research that I've seen, Mark is the only one that's being referred to, and we just saw the pitch where Lori and Mark partnered on that deal together. So I just think that Mark just felt like he didn't really need her, and he had somebody on the team that may have known a little bit more about inventions, because that was his reason. That was Bruno's reason for bringing Lori on board. Remember, he said that he liked that she had that inventions background. And so some way or another, I think Mark found some way to kind of just do the deal without her eventually. But good news for them, they ended up being acquired by Carvana. Now here we're on the Crunchbase website, and this is where you could go for businesses and investments and get a little information about how they were fundraising and things like that. So one of the things that I want to look at is just the acquisition notes. And so it says Car360 was acquired by Carvana for $22 million on April 17, 2018. Take a look at their investors. You will see that Radical Investments LP was a initial investor in the business, and that investment company is owned by Mark Cuban. And so now, what has Carvana been doing with the software? Because they have been in the news a lot lately. And guess what it's been for? Y'all probably already know. Carvana banned from doing business in Illinois, which is where I'm from, over registration and title issues. Now, this article was released on May 17th. There was another one earlier in February where Carvana had some legal problems in North Carolina. That's not the end. Florida also threatened to pull Carvana's dealer license over ongoing title issues. So not only has this been happening in a local area in Illinois, but it's been happening across multiple states for Carvana. And so they got the software. They were a very successful company. However, they have been in the news lately about business compliance, which is so very important to all entrepreneurs, to all business owners, right? You have to stay compliant. And it says here that they haven't been able to get people's titles to them. And I also read in some of these articles that people was getting titled, they were getting tickets because they didn't have their titles, because of Carvana's not following through with basic business requirements for their industry. And so I thought that was kind of odd. I think it's some type of class action lawsuit coming for these Carvana people that who never got their titles, but also got a lot of tickets on their car because they didn't get it. And I just think that this is just one of those prime examples of making sure, as entrepreneurs, making sure that we are compliant in our business, that our paperwork is up to par, and also that we have some built-in processes for the very basic minimum things that we're supposed to be doing. That's a very basic responsibility for Carvana, to be able to deliver you your title registration. That's very basic for that industry. And so for them to be having so many problems in that area, I don't think they need to be in business at all, right? And so share with me, let me know what y'all think about this Carvana issues, and also let me know what you think about the other articles that I've shared. But I hope this information has been useful to you. Again, make sure you click those links below if you want more information on any one of those articles, and make sure you hit that like button and become a subscriber to the channel if you like this content. And make sure you check us out next week for our next business news roundup.